Hey WinTech Warriors, welcome to WinTech Live. WinTech Live is our new weekly live training session. Each week we cover a new topic to help you on your WinTech HMI application building journey. This live session will run for around 15 minutes, and if you have any questions related to the content being discussed, please wait until after the training session and we will address some of your questions then. Today, we'll cover how to set up and use some of the security features built into EasyBuilder Pro. Alright, so I'm just going to pop open this EasyBuilder Pro project that I've created. It's just got a few simple windows which we'll cover here shortly, but for now let's head to the Home tab and select System Parameters. And within the Security tab, we can create new users and assign them class permissions. So what are class-based permissions? Class-based permissions refers to a system where permissions are defined and managed based on user roles or groups, rather than individually for each user. In this case, we can assign users a class within Class A through Class L. Alright, so I'm going to create two users. We'll call user 1 Steve. We'll call user 2 Gary. Alright, and we will give Steve Class A permissions, and we'll give Gary Class A and B permissions. And it's important to note when creating users, their account must be enabled, or you won't be able to use them within your application. Okay, so now let's create a couple of objects that we will assign class-based restrictions, meaning that only users assigned those classes, the class permissions, will be able to access them. So, as I was saying earlier, let's first just take a quick look at this simple project I've made. It's got three windows: a home window, a user management window, and a super secret window. Now, I'm going to head to our Object tab and select a function key, which I will use to summon or change the window to our user management window. So I'll change full screen window, select user management, and within this security tab, in the user restrictions section, we can choose an object class, meaning if we choose class B, only users that have been given class B permissions will be able to access it. And we have a couple of options here. We can display a warning message if access is denied, or make invisible while protected, meaning any user without Class B permissions will see a warning message if they interact with it, and they won't see it at all if they don't have the Class B permissions. There's also an option to disable protection permanently after initial activation, but we won't demonstrate that today. So I'll select the Make Invisible While Protected option. Let's go ahead and give it a label. How about user management? Place it within our project, and I will create another function key that will navigate to our top secret window. Alright, again heading to our security tab, and we'll give this one Class B user restrictions as well. Again, this means if a user has not been assigned Class B permissions, they won't be able to see it in this case, because we'll make it invisible while protected. Oh, we'll give it a label, top secret. Put it within our project here. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and just add an ASCII object to our project that has a system tag assigned to it, and this system tag will allow us to see who's currently logged in, the current username. There's 8 words, so I'll adjust that. Select OK. And you know what? Let's make it look a little better. I'll remove the picture here, and let's place it next to this nice user label I've created. So when we log in, we'll see the user's name right here. Okay. Now, if you created a project with the template option selected, you get a whole boatload of super useful pre-made windows, and a handful of those are user account control related, like this window we're about to use, which will allow a user to log in and log out. So, going to select a function key, which will display a pop-up window, and that will be our login, logout window. Let's change the label. User login. Okay, we'll place this right here. Okay, now let's log in with our users to see our class-based user permissions in action. So to do that, I'll just head to the Project tab and I'll run an offline simulation. Okay, as you can see, we don't see our function keys down here. We're not able to access our user management and restricted top secret windows. And that's because no one is logged in at the moment. So let's go ahead and log in with Steve, who only has Class A permissions. Now, it's important that when you enter a user password or really anything into an ASCII or numeric object, you hit enter afterward, or that data is not going to stick. Select login, and we're in as Steve, but Steve lacks the class-based permissions, the Class B permissions to see or interact with our function keys that bring us to our user management and top secret window. So let's go ahead and log out and log in with Gary, who does have those permissions. We log in and bam, just like that, we can see our user management and top secret function keys. Let's go ahead and select our user management function key, and we're headed to that window. Top secret, no burgers allowed. That's looking at you, Steve. Okay, so now let's go ahead and head to our user management window, and let's use one of our UAC pre-made windows to add a user account and assign them class permissions. So to do that, I do our object tab, I'll select a function key, and this one will OBS disconnected, reconnected. Okay, and we're back, I guess. All right. So we're creating another function key, which will display a pop-up window, but this time I'll select our pre-made delete account window. Oh, let's go ahead and change that label to avoid any confusion to the user. Okay. All right, so let's run a simulation to add a user. Heading back to the Project tab, selecting Offline Simulation. All right, and again, we're not able to access these windows unless we're logged in with a user that has Class B permissions, because that is what the objects are protected with. And We can't do it with Steve because he doesn't have those Class B permissions, but Gary sure does. So let's log in. Alright, head to our user management page. Select Add User, which will summon our pre-made Add User pop-up. And here we can enter a user's name and password to create a new user. Let's see, how about Frank? He's new to the company. Give him a username, a password. We're creating an account for him. Give him Class A user permissions. Select Add. And just like that, we've created a new user. But you know what? Things aren't working out with Frank. So let's go ahead and delete his account. So this is our pre-made delete account window. And let's see, select Frank. We're asked if we'd like to really delete him. Select OK, and just like that, Frank's gone. Goodbye, Frank. All right. So the last thing I would like to cover would be how to log in using a USB security key. And to do that, you would head to the EB Pro directory, which is created upon installation of EasyBuilder Pro. You'll select the Administrator Tools application there. And here you'd want to select USB Security Key. Now, we'd enter our username, which will create a login for Steve, give him a password, or enter his password. Now, it's important to note that this user should already be created within the HMI. We can't create a new user doing this. Also, this does not work on SVR units, so bam. So after entering our username and password, you'd select Save to Folder or Save to USB. Select a location, select OK, generated successfully. You would then take that file and simply put it on a USB drive, which I've done. And let's just demonstrate that now. So what we're doing here is I have an HMI set up right next to me, and we're viewing it now with VNC Viewer software. So I've got my USB drive with Steve's credentials on it so we can auto log in. Actually, there's one more thing I'd like to point out. In order to automatically log in, you'll want to head to your system parameters, head to the security tab, and enable this option, execute auto log in, log out, when you insert a USB key into the HMI. Okay. Now let's log in. Okay, I'm now going to insert the USB drive into the HMI, and Steve should automatically be logged in. Oh, first we'll see this dialog box. Just select close because we're not downloading or uploading a file. But just like that, Steve's logged in. He's the user that is currently logged in. All right, so you're now prepared to start building your application within EasyBuilder Pro. I'll now take a few minutes to answer some questions related to the information we've just covered. If you have a question that's not related to the topics discussed, please reach out on our forum. Right here, forum.wintechusa.com. It is just a treasure trove of staff-written technical tutorials, and if you have a question, it's possible that someone's already asked it, and it's been answered by either us here at WinTechUSA or another forum user. Also, poke around our YouTube channel. There is a lot of great content, and there is always something in the works.